Yo, what's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning into another episode to the Beautiful Struggle podcast. This is episode number 86, where we talk about personal development and business all in one podcast. And we drop a new episode every single Monday of the week. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, please feel free to tune in, subscribe, share this episode with one other person that you may feel that needs to hear this podcast, and check out the Beautiful Struggle podcast. We're growing a lot. We're having amazing guests on every single week. And today we have another amazing guest on. We have another boss lady in the building, a boss lady on the podcast. So you definitely want to tune in, subscribe, like I said, and share it with one other person that may need to hear this episode. A little bit about my guest today. She is a speaker, author, philanthropist. She's the host of Divas Don't Do Drama Summit, owner of The Best You Now, the only Black-owned cosmetic surgery center located in South Florida, owner of the Lounge 360, a spa and wellness center. She's also involved in many other business ventures out there. And most importantly, she is a wife and a mother. Welcome, Shareza J. Wilkerson. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you for jumping on the podcast. Like I said before we recorded, I really appreciate you giving me a piece of your time. But yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Absolutely. So, you built a lot. You have a lot going on. A lot of people may see all the followers, they see all the businesses and accolades and whatnot. But what people may not know is that it wasn't always easy. It wasn't so grand, and there was definitely some humble beginnings as I was reading your story and whatnot. So I would love to start from the beginning. I would love to know your background and you growing up and really how you got into entrepreneurship.
All right. Well, I'm just I would say Black girls from the inner city, grew up in the inner city. Had my daughters young. I was a teen mom by the age of 19. There was a lot of childhood hurt, adult disappointment, just different things that was going on in my life. But I had two daughters by the age of 19. And people counted me out, told me that I would have, or statistics said that that rate, I would have 5 more children by the age of 25. So I would be a mother of 5. That's what statistics said. But I took the road less traveled. I still finished school, went to college, went all the way up to my master's degree, my degree in business management. But I always say that inner city brought the best out of me, right? Because entrepreneurship was like my hustle. I was that little girl in 5th grade, going to the candy store and buying 50-cent candy and flipping it for $1. I was that young lady that, used to go to the Dollar Tree and make baskets for people and sell them on major holidays. So that entrepreneur spirit has just always been in me. So basically that's kind of where it comes from, just understanding that, turning my stumbling blocks into stepping stones.
So you say inner city. Are you from Florida or?
Yes, I'm from,
Okay.
and some people may or may not know, but I'm from Lauderdale Lakes. It's Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Glen Cove was the community. Grew up in Glen Cove. So definitely a Florida girl.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And so growing up, did you have any other entrepreneurs in your family? Does that run in your family? Is that a common thing? Or were you just always a hustler and that was, you feel like it was inside of you already?
Right. Like, honestly, God gives everybody different talents. And I believe I was like that first entrepreneur, in my family to have that hustle mentality because, not taking away anything from my mom, stepdad, my grandmother, anybody else who works a 9 to 5. But, I was in corporate America, and we'll talk about that later on. But I've always had that go-getter mentality.
Gotcha. Wow.
It was just in me.
Right. So you graduate college, you have 2 young girls. What's your first step? I mean, first step into the world. What do you want to do? You have this hustler's mentality. Where do you go at that moment?
So I started selling Mary Kay. I started
Mm-hmm.
selling Mary Kay and also, making those baskets. I would go buy the shrink wrap and sell baskets. Then I would go, put bags in them and, I would flip that. Just always had that hustle mentality. But um, the company that I worked for, I started at the age of 18. I was in
Mm.
college and I was in yes, college, and they actually put me through school for me to get my business management degree.
Wow.
So this company put me through, school. That's how I was able to get that, that first
Mm-hmm.
degree. And I was in corporate America. That company, and actually I can talk about it, was British Airways.
Mm.
That company actually, I don't know if you remember, but that's when all the businesses were moving overseas because it was so much
Mm-hmm.
cheaper. I got a chance to travel, got a chance to go to some amazing places: London, Paris, India,
Wow.
where they asked me to go over there in India. I was over there for a month to start their
Wow.
to basically training others to take my job.
Mm.
But it was okay. It was okay. And then I went from that company to, another company, and just corporate America. British Airways, let me just go back there. I started as a customer service representative and
Mm.
I left as an operations manager. So I was with that company for 8 years. And then continued my corporate America journey. But on the side, I'm still doing things. I
Mm.
developed a passion for women and young girls.
Mm.
Just I started my non-for-profit organization, and just developed that passion because now I have two little girls that are watching me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I developed that passion for women because I had to go through this transformational period where it wasn't always gravy. Like people will see me today and I always say, you see the glory, but you don't know the
Mm-hmm.
story.
Right.
And I promise you, God gives it to people that can handle it because if I look back, there was no way that I could say that I, could have handled that,
Mm-hmm.
what I've gone through. So just
You saying you don't think you could have handled it in that moment
well,
either?
I mean, you would think when I look
Mm-hmm.
back, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
wow, how did I get through that? How
Right.
did I
Right.
get through
Right.
this time in my life? I mean, there were times when my daughters and myself were sleeping in the car. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So,
Mm.
and that's why I always say, like, people don't, they see you today, they see this
Yeah.
mentality of
Yeah.
how you've grown. But what I say is, God gives it to people that can handle it. But then I was like, how am I going to get through this? And looking
Mm.
back, I was like, how did I get through that? You know what I mean? But it was just perseverance, resilience.
Mm. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why on this podcast I love to not just talk about the businesses that you own and what you're doing now, but take it back and talk about your story because I want to make it relatable for everybody that's listening. There might be somebody out there that may be going through your same situation and they see you as an example and they're just like, wow, if she can do it, then, why can't I? She looks just
Right.
like me. She's from the same place as me. If she can do it, I can do it as well. So I love that. I love that you're being transparent. Uh, I'm curious about when you were traveling around to India and whatnot, what was something that you learned, leaving Florida and going to see different cultures and whatnot? What was something that you learned and you brought back, maybe that you applied to business or your own self and your family?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. That's so important because I remember um, coming back from India. So,
Mm-hmm.
India, a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
Like my
What part
whole,
of India?
it was in Noida,
Mm.
Noida, India.
Mm-hmm.
So, not too far from New Delhi, not too far
Mm-hmm.
from New Delhi, because we did visit New Delhi. I got a chance to visit the Taj Mahal when I was there.
Mm.
So, I mean,
Wow.
this is a 20-something-year-old girl that's able to experience this,
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I remember waking up in my hotel room, it was beautiful, gorgeous hotel room. And I opened the window. Remember, this is a third world country. And then I
Mm-hmm.
see outhouses where people are um, they're going to use the restroom. They're in line to use the restroom and to wash up. I'm seeing people that are on the streets begging for money, doing tricks, for money.
Mm.
And it really made me that I think at that moment it was gratefulness. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Gratefulness and really
Yeah.
wanting giving me that. And I believe that's the first time I read the Dalai Lama quote that I literally applied to my life, because I was there alone. I had business associates that, traveled, but I'm basically there without family and friends.
Right, right.
And I remember reading that quote by Dalai Lama, and he says, our prime purpose in life is to help others. And if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. And then, it was then when I looked and I came back, when I flew back to the States, and I literally wanted to kiss the ground, because it was kind of like, I'm so grateful for where I am, and then they would tell us when we would go on the bus for transportation, they would say, I would want to give, the people money, because these young kids are doing tricks in the road, and they want money, and they're saying, don't give anybody money. You can't give them money, because they'll basically ambush the bus, because everybody's needy out here. And I'm like, you got this amazing hotel here, and across the street, it's poverty. So I'm looking at that, and I'm so grateful for life. And then I start thinking about the things that I've gone through, things that I'm going through, and say, how could I be so selfish? And I think it was during that time when I really knew that I had the heart to service others. And that's what I was meant to do, regardless of what I'm doing. It's all about the service of others.
I love that. No, a lot of people talk to me, and it's very, very hard for me to wake up on the wrong side of the bed. It's very hard for me to wake up with a bad attitude or with a quote unquote bad hair day, because I've been to a third world country as well, and I've seen how people live, and I'm just so grateful. And I'm just like, man, we take so many things for granted. Like you said, a bathroom, a restroom, having a restroom in your own home, having the ability to eat 3 meals a day. It's something that we take for granted. And I always remember that. I always remember that when I wake up, like, man, my life may be difficult right now, or I'm maybe going through something, but there's always somebody out there that's going through something that's way worse than I am. There's maybe somebody out there, a little kid that's missing their parents, and my parents are still around. Just little things like that keeps me going. And like I said, it's very, very difficult for me to wake up on the wrong side of the bed and with a bad attitude.
I agree. And, I'm the same way. It's kind of like, every time I wake up in the morning, this is literally my morning routine, where I have to listen to something positive. I'm putting my AirPods in, and I'm putting on something that's motivational, something that's going to lift me up, whether it's a gospel song, whether it's a motivational song, but something that's going to, get me through the day, something that's going to make me reflect on what I listen to, because every day is a struggle. When you think about it, every day is kind of like, you're going to be tested. Somebody's going to be mean to you. And you're going to have to think about, how am I going to carry myself in this situation? And Lord knows, you get tested.
you get tested for sure. And I love that you, especially as a business owner and entrepreneur, you take control of your morning. I'm sure there's other things that you add to your routine, but same with myself. I wake up, I go read. I'm listening to, gospel music, because I want to take control of the first couple hours of my day. And I feel like once I take control of those hours, I can control and I can deal with the rest. I try not to go on social media, because you know how social media is. You may see something on social media that may mess up your morning. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
So I love that. I always recommend to people, take advantage, or take advantage of your morning. Take control of your morning as well, for sure.
Yes. No, I agree. 100%. You have to take control of your life, and I know we'll get into the summit, but that's really what it's all about: accountability, ownership, and execution. Create that lifestyle that that you deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to circle back, so you got a new job, you're still hustling on the side. I'm curious, what was the first step into entrepreneurship? What was that first moment that you quit your 9 to 5 and you stepped fully into entrepreneurship, especially with 2 young daughters? I'm curious.
So I started my non-for-profit. I started the first non-for-profit, and then I ended up writing my first book. So when I wrote my first book, it was more of that journey, because when you write books, people start asking you to speak, and that became a passion for me to just kind of do different speaking engagements. I remember I got my first paid speaking engagement, and I was like so excited. I'm like, wait a minute, people just want to pay me for telling my story or my
Crazy.
experience and what I've gone through, and then to give tips on just life. People want to pay me for this. So I started getting speaking engagements and getting paid for these things. But believe it or not, Chris, it wasn't until last year, because I was still working in corporate America and doing the business. My husband and myself, we acquired the cosmetic surgery business about 6 years ago now. And we, prior to that, we had, and I'll get into love, in a second, but literally met my soulmate, like literally, like my best friend. And but we acquired this business 6 years ago, and look, it's crazy. Like, it was just something in line with what he does and what I do. I have a passion for people. He has a passion for people. I have a serving heart. He has a serving heart. He has his PhD in epidemiology, bioinformatics, and just wants to get to that overall health of people. I have that passion for the mind, body, and soul, making sure that your mind is right and your mindset. So it was just like two hearts that became one, literally. And we acquired the business. But prior to that, I was just doing a lot of like speaking engagements, still in corporate America. But even over the past 6 years, when we had the business, I still was in corporate America, still writing books, because now I have 4 books out. So I was still writing, still speaking, because it was like, okay, well, this is corporate America, and I love this place because I was able to mentor so many women. I wasn't just a boss, because I was a operations manager, and I wasn't just people's boss. I was there to be so much more, like a mentor, a friend. And that really is what took me so long to kind of leave. And actually, I wouldn't even say I left. I was more so pushed out for systemic racism. We'll probably get into that. But I think it really just pushed me more into my purpose, saying this is where you need to be. Because we
Yeah, you
also,
can dive into it. You can talk
okay.
about it.
So we also have the Wellness Center. So Lounge 360 Spine Wellness, that's kind of my baby. And I always say the Cosmetic Surgery Center is my husband's baby, but it's combined, because it's kind of where beauty meets wellness. And that was the whole concept that we came up with. But prior to that, we had another company. Well, it was non-invasive surgeries. It didn't do well because people want that quick snatch, but then we figured out how we can combine health and wellness, and that's how we came up with, our business now. And it's just amazing. But as far as systemic racism, like, we have to understand that it does exist. And those that, turn a blind eye to it, I don't really even know what to say, but we can't turn a blind eye. Now is the time where we have to start speaking up. And so I was the only Black woman in that position, the youngest and the only in my position prior to me leaving. And there was my boss prior, he was a straight white male, very, very loving. He retired. He ends up retiring, and they got this white woman that took over. And I had been at that company for 10 years when she came in, and she became the VP. And everything that she could do to make my life hell, she did it. And I got nominated for the Commonwealth Institute for Women Leaders. And I was nominated for that. And it was basically a huge nomination, because only like 5 women in the organization of over 2,500 people were, get that position. So I was nominated for that. And she just kind of changed, kind of like, how's this little Black girl getting nominated for something like this? And, who is she? And her whole demeanor just changed. And it was just so stressful. Like, literally, I was coming home depressed. My husband was like, you don't need this. And I was depressed. I even went to therapy and everything, because I never, you encounter racism, but not so close to you sometimes.
Yeah,
And
at
it was
work.
blatant. It was
Yeah.
blatant. She would make comments. She would say things like, well, you can't have this day off, but I know you want to take Martin Luther King Day off, so you can have that. Like I
Mm-mm.
literally I got sick. And it was like, you know what? I felt like, it was just time to go. There's some other things that have occurred, but I am definitely pursuing it.
Right,
So some things I
right,
can
right.
and can't say, but I'm definitely not going to allow that. But even moving forward here in the
Mm-hmm.
business, we're one of the only Black owned cosmetic surgery centers owned and operated. And right
Mm.
now, as I'm speaking to you, we're dealing with systemic racism where
Yeah.
they feel like you're not supposed to be here. Like where these two Black people, come from running a multi-million-dollar facility
Mm-hmm.
and people want to come to them. They're doing great work. How is this happening? So they've reached out to our employees, our surgeons, and
Wow.
we have to be honest. A lot of people can't stand a Black man writing their check. Let's just be
Mm.
clear, other ethnicities. And that's basically why they would jump ship and go over, to other facilities because it's true. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and, I'm encouraging all business owners, that are
Yeah.
listening, they're going through something like this. I mean, because this is a big deal. It's a big deal and it's very hurtful because, as I told you, like my husband and I believe in doing the right thing by people. You do the right
Right,
thing for
right.
the right reasons. So when you have employees and they're non-Black employees, they're not reaching out to our Black employees. They're reaching out to the non-Black employees and they're going over there. They're going
Mm.
to these other centers. But
Mm.
you know,
Wow.
it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
But again, we're resilient people. We're
Right,
not going
right.
anywhere, and we're just interviewing. Um, and it's we've had people that come into jobs, and I don't want to talk so much about this. I
Mm.
apologize, but it's
No, no,
something
no, no worries.
happening
I
in our
no,
life
I
right
was not.
now.
Yeah, I was gonna say not to cut you off. It's something that I think we need to shed light on, and people don't realize that happened.
Right.
And I was even gonna say, it happens out here in the West Coast. I don't want to get too deep into it either. But with my wife, with certain jobs she's had to deal with it as well. So, I mean, after you finish, I would love for you to maybe give some recommendations to people that are working in those positions, or even business owners that are in this position that are dealing with systematic racism.
Mhm.
And what are some ways they can help, or you can help them push through it? I'd love for you to touch on that.
Well, so, outside of the legal issues or the legal
Mm-hmm.
matters and getting legal representation and
Mm-hmm.
things of that sort, I say you have to be resilient. In everything that you do, you have to be resilient. And you have to, the saying where it says stand for something or fall for anything, you
Yep.
have to
Yep.
stand up. And, that
Mm-hmm.
silence, and I can't remember, I want to say it was Dr. King, one of his quotes, Dr. Martin Luther King, where he said, and I can't remember, or if it was the justice, but either way, they
Mm-hmm.
basically said if you're turning a blind eye, then you're part of the problem, not the solution.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
if you're acting like it doesn't exist, then you're part of the problem.
The problem.
So
Yep.
I would say to stand for something. I know, it's fear because I'm still nervous and I'm still afraid in these times because people, they pay off people.
Mm-hmm.
It does happen. But what I would say is not be quiet about it because there's enough of us. And when I say us, I mean people who want to do the right thing. I don't care if you're
Right.
Black, white, Asian. I'm talking about the people who want to do the right thing for the right reason. You know how John Lewis used to say, good trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It's good
Mm-hmm.
trouble. And we have to stand up. We have to, reach out to different groups, different organizations and talk about what we're going through, getting on platforms like yourself and just talk
Mm-hmm.
about it and then come together to do something about it. But I would
Right.
not encourage anybody to be quiet because it says fear is false evidence appearing real. So don't be
Yep.
fearful
Love that.
of these things. We have to be resilient. We have to stand tall and we have to show, others that we're not going anywhere.
Mm.
Um, it's going to be, I mean, it's tough. And I was talking to my husband this morning and I said, he said, well, God gave this to us. He gave this task to us for a reason, and we have to do something about it. We got to start talking about it. We were quiet for so long, but things were just happening. They're not supposed to be there. Like it's very rare to have a cosmetic surgery center owned by Blacks in this industry, by the way, in the surgery center world. So, but we have to talk about it, because when we shed light on it, then we know that people are listening, even the people that are not so nice, the bad people, and the truth is there's really good and evil in this world. We say things like everybody is good. And I do believe that everybody has good in them, but everybody's not good. There are really some very evil people in the world. But when we start shedding light on this and letting people see and letting them know what's going on, then you'll get that ear. You'll get the ear, and then people will kind of back down, because I believe it's more people in the world that want to do right than do wrong.
No, I heard that. And we were talking on the phone the other day. You also mentioned it's important for us to stick together and support each other and uplift one another. With that being said, tell us a little bit more about this cosmetic surgery center, where it's located. If people were in the area, if they want to go and check you guys out, let them know about what you guys do, and of course where you guys are located as well.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if you're in the area or not. Like, we literally have people that fly in from California to get cosmetic surgery. So we have people that fly in. We have a lot of out of state, patients as well. But we are the Best You Now, letter U, now Cosmetic Surgery Center. And we're located in Plantation, Florida. What an irony, right? Plantation, everybody always says that. But it's 4101 South Hospital Drive. And we're located in Plantation, Florida, 33317. We like to say, bringing out the best in you. That's our motto. And when we say that, it's mind, body, and soul, because our sister company is Lounge 360 Spa and Wellness. So we also have a weight loss program. So we're not that surgery center that's going to just give you surgery and send you away. I always say we're a boutique, not a factory. We're not trying to create an assembly line and have 50 surgeries a day. We're okay with 50 a week. Because we believe in quality, not quantity. So we handle our patients, and we call them our besties, because they're Best You besties. Anybody that comes with the Best You Now, they're our besties. So when they come, we try to give quality service, great customer service. And that's another thing that we probably have to touch on. I don't know if we have time, but
no, go ahead.
But I want people to understand, Black owned, it has a negative connotation to it. And sometimes you hear people say, someone commented, I had to speak on a live a couple weeks ago, and someone commented and said, Black owned surgery center, I don't trust it. So these are our people that are saying things like this.
Right.
And it's always, we're so programmed. My first book, by the way, is called Sister Deprogrammed, deprogramming that programmed mind. We're so programmed to think Black is evil, Black is guilty, Black isn't innocent, but we're so programmed to think other ethnicities are better than us, our own people. We're programmed to think that. Automatically you say Black owned and they don't trust it.
Wow.
We got to change that. We have to really change that whole negative connotation that they have, thinking that, because it's Black owned, or if they receive less than good service, that, people don't make mistakes. And I've gone to South Beach. I've went to different restaurants where it's not my color, and the service was horrible. But we don't take the time to say anything about that. I was in I don't want to say the name of the huge department store that everybody knows. I was in there today, and the systems were down. The systems were down in this very well-known store, and people were waiting and standing in line, had no issue. We'll just wait. But if you come to you go to a Black establishment, it's ghetto, or, oh my God, that's so Black. That's some Black stuff. I've heard it all. It all, being a Black business owner in this industry, or even just period. And we just have to change that connotation. We have to support our people. It's so important that we support one another. We are the biggest consumers. And the black dollar does not last in the community. It doesn't. I believe it's 6 hours. When in other communities, it's days, and it just circulates and circulates. And I'm gonna
don't let that slip by too fast. Touch on that again, where the dollar doesn't stay in the community long at all. She just said, and I forgot the statistic as well. I think I've heard it before, but it's literally like 6 hours that it stays within the black community. But if you go to the Jewish or the white community, it's like 28 days.
Yeah.
That means before it touches another race, somebody else that doesn't look like them, but that's not from the community, it stays within their circle for 14, 20, 28 days. Then it, somebody else may touch it, but with us, it leaves within 6 hours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
and that's true. And it's hurtful because, again, we're programmed to think that everything else outside of black is so much better. And we have to change that narrative. We have to change the narrative. And look, you have a black-owned cosmetic surgery center. Do you know the percentage that of black women that get their bodies done and get cosmetic surgery? It's high, very high. The biggest consumers, the most money, and we're being treated differently, But now, with that being said, I can also say that once our people do find out, they're like, I don't care who's out there, I'm coming to you all, so we do have our support. Now let me not say that we don't have our supporters, because we do have a huge amount of supporters, but we want the black dollar and we want it all. We want it all. So I believe that's why we're being attacked now. That's why we're being looked at now, because they know that black women are the ones that spend the most money in the cosmetic industry, aside from Latinos, that spend the most money. So if we win that black dollar, I mean, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Right.
But I always say success is not limited. There's enough to go around. Everybody can eat. Everybody can eat. So stop trying to take food off of somebody else's table when we all can eat together. We can all share. We can all feast.
Yeah. No, I can definitely get that feeling from you, where let's just say there was somebody else that wanted to get in your space. I'm sure you would be more than happy to share this information, share the struggles that you went through. And like you said, there's more than enough money out here for us to eat. They're printing money every single day. It's crazy. So I love that about you for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, with that being said, I'm curious, as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as someone that's dealing with, a lot of racism and whatnot, what are some different ways that you juggle all these different businesses and juggle everything that's going on as a mother, as a wife and whatnot? Is balance even a thing for you, or is it, talk to me about that. Like, how do you get through all that?
I read a book a long time ago that said balance is bull, and you can finish the rest of the word, but it's balance is BS. So it's one of those things where I really try to you can create a list for the day, and I try to get through maybe 7 of the 10 things, but things happen. But one thing we try to stick to first thing in the morning is we're reading our scripture, we're praying, we're listening to something motivational, whether it's a sermon, gospel music, a seminar, something. So, saying that really helps me through the day. And then, my phone doesn't stop. If I'm not in the office, there's different things going on. The publicist is reaching out saying, hey, you have this today, you got to do this. And, for whatever crazy reason, I'm the chosen one to deal with this stuff. We have
You're the firefighter.
My husband and I, we do a lot of philanthropy work. So we want to do like a big event for, different things every quarter. So it's just so much going on. There's so many moving parts, but here's what's going to sound even crazy. I love it all. I love it all. So it's nothing that goes, no stone that goes unturned, throughout the day. If I don't get to it today, one thing that I do realize is that I'll get to it tomorrow. You know what I mean? And if I can't
Yeah.
get to it today, and if I don't wake up tomorrow, then I've done everything, and I want God to say, well done, good and faithful servant, you know?
Mm.
So that's basically, how I live life. Like I can't do everything. I'm not superwoman. And when I need to rest, I rest. And I always tell my listeners, like, listen, keep your house in order. You make sure you take care of home. Spend that day of the week to go grocery shop and run your errands. You got to make sure you're a wife. You take care of your husband. You got to, make sure that your husband is good. Make sure that your kids are good. Make sure your family is good. Now, the good thing about it, I told you I had my daughters young. So they're 21 and 23. They're still home. One is a graduate of Florida A&M, the other one cosmetology school, but they all work for the business. They both work for the business. So one is the marketing director, and the other one, she's everything. Like she'll do the hair, she'll do the surgical coordinator. She's just, everything, but they both work for the business. So motherhood doesn't stop either, but I do have older daughters, that, they can fend for themselves, as needed. But really just that juggling act, and love what you do and do what you love. I'll tell anybody to love what you do and do what you love, because literally I wouldn't have it any other way. I just balance it. I mean, it's BS, but it wouldn't be me if I'm just home and not doing anything.
Yeah. No, I heard that for sure. So I'm curious, something that's being spoken about a lot more in the entrepreneurship, I guess, industry or world, I should say, is mental health. It's something that we're starting to talk about a lot more. And I'm curious, what are some of the ways that you take care of your mental health? I know you mentioned taking that day off if you need to. It's something I'm working on because, it's almost like growing. It's almost like as an entrepreneur, we're kind of programmed to that we just got to hustle, grind, go. And we don't take that moment to take care of our mental health or our physical health. So what are some ways that you take care of yourself,
So we exercise. We try to exercise like 5 times a week. Sometimes
That's
it's
dope.
3 to 4. So just getting up, after reading and meditating, and meditation is very important. Is
Yeah.
taking that time to really just take it all in, give it all out. But exercising, definitely, proper diet. But I mean, the thing that a lot of people don't know is I tell, my listeners, my followers, it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish, because if you don't give to you, you can't give to anybody else, right?
That's
You
right.
can't pour from an empty cup. So I really just try to de-stress sometimes, and, like I said, take a day, but also protecting my energy, protecting my space, protecting my circle, not allowing negativity to kind of enter into my space, or not allowing it to get to me.
Right.
Social media, I want everybody who's listening, social media can be a blessing and it can also be a curse. So we have to understand that Facebook is sometimes fantasy book. Everything is
Yeah.
not what you see. And then, the comments and negativity, the likes, that's really getting to people. And one of
Yeah,
the
I'm not to cut you off. I'm sorry. Not recently. I'm not gonna even lie. I took like a 2 to 3 week break from social media.
Mhm.
Didn't even go on it. I just put it
That's
to the
awesome.
side, and it was amazing. It was real. It was real liberating.
How
Like
much more
feeling
did you
like
get done
a
by doing
lot
that?
more. No,
Yeah.
it's crazy because the first day I was like, wow, I have a lot of time on my hand.
Yeah.
Like what was I doing?
Yeah.
The first day I was like trying to figure it out. And then the following days I felt so much more productive. And then gradually I would just go on there just to check my DMs to see if anybody had any questions or like business related. But
Mhm.
besides that, wouldn't even look at it, wouldn't even pay attention to it. And like I said, it felt really liberating. I felt really productive. And I'm not, I try to be productive as possible as it is, but
Mhm.
just removing that distraction from my life really gave me the opportunity and the chance to really kind of realign myself with my purpose and my goal, and just remove those distractions.
Absolutely. Under
Yeah,
construction is what I like to call it, work in progress.
yeah,
Like
yeah, absolutely.
we and that's another thing I want to make sure that I get out there in to everyone out there listening and watching, is that counseling does not equal crazy. If you
Yeah,
feel something, if something isn't right, if you're not feeling what right,
talk
depression is
about
a
it.
real thing. It's a real thing. And in our
Amen.
community, there's this stigma where counseling equals crazy. And I wrote that in one of my first book. Counseling does not
Mm-hmm.
equal crazy, because there was a time that I had to go and lay on somebody's couch and I had to talk to people. I had to talk to someone that wasn't so close to me. And
Mm-hmm.
it was really therapeutic in real life. It
Yeah, I
really
heard
is.
that.
And you have no idea the things that you're feeling until you let it all out. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a certified life coach. So I listen to people's story, and I tell them, like, listen, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I can help you on life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And going through life experiences, and me listening to some people and sharing some things. And I would definitely recommend them to, in addition to having a life coach, also go to therapy. Go
Yeah,
to
I
therapy.
love that.
If I hear certain things, depression, it's real. Depression is so real, and mental illness is real. And what happens
Mm-hmm.
is, for some reason, our community, we laugh at it, or we think, oh,
Yeah.
such and such went crazy. No, they didn't go crazy. People have mental breakdowns because it's too much coming at them at one time.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on, and it does happen. So we have to start taking it more seriously. And if we see a change in how they say, check on your strong friend, if we see that change in them, or something just isn't right, we have to do something about it. We cannot turn a deaf ear to these things, because it's
Mm-hmm.
real, and it's more real now than ever. And we have to start doing
Mm-hmm.
things about it.
No, I love that you said check on your strong friends, because a lot of times, you know, we may be thinking like, look, I think they're doing good. They're doing it right. He's strong. He'll get through it. She's strong. She'll be all right. But some of the things that we go through are not normal, and we need to
Yeah.
talk about it. We need to deal with it, in a positive way. So
Mhm.
I definitely love that. And I love that you said counseling does not equal crazy. Again, a lot of people in our community, they think it's weak to go to counseling, or they think something's wrong with you. I even mentioned, recommend marriage counseling as well.
Right.
That's something my wife and I have gone through. I tell people, look, we're not going through anything crazy, or like we're not going to get a divorce or anything like that, but we want to make sure the foundation of our marriage is strong, and it's based on something that we believe in.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and myself, we have what we call our marriage mentors. So
Mm.
we'll go and we'll sit over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
They've been married
Mm-hmm.
like 40 plus years. And we go and we just sit with them, and we take in all the wisdom. We want to hear the
Mm-hmm.
good, the bad, and the ugly. And they'll ask us,
Mm-hmm.
what are we going through, and different things, and how's everything? And how's everything for real? Because my husband and I, we're in business together. So we're enduring a lot of these things together. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
being in business, working together, going home together, it's just a lot. It could be a lot. And
Yeah.
have to learn how to turn it off and turn it on. And we've been doing a great job at that. Like, business is business, now it's family time. Now it's, romantic time. Now it's date night.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been doing very good,
Mm-hmm.
with that. But yes, you do need, I like to say, marriage mentors, or going to
Mm-hmm.
marriage counseling. And it's just therapeutic, and there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with self growth or growing, and growing
Mm-hmm.
together. You have to grow with your mate, because you change, they change, and you guys have to continue to understand one another. And that's kind of,
Yeah.
my husband and myself.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, just real quick, as being in business with your husband, you mentioned knowing when to turn it off and on and whatnot. What are some things that you guys do to prevent maybe taking work home, or maybe you guys disagree at work or something? How do you guys manage that and get through that? I know there may be some speed bumps or whatnot, but I'm curious, being around your husband all day and probably all day,
Mhm.
and then going home, what are some ways that you get around those tough little bumps, I would say?
Well, the good thing is that my office is on one side of the building, his is all the way
Okay.
on the other side.
That's
So
good.
we literally sometimes will, we'll come to work and we ride together very seldom. We don't ride together
Mm,
often, because that's his time and that's my time, per se.
mm,
But we do give each other, that. And then when, he gets to work or I get, he gets to the office, I get to the office. He has his days off. I have my separate day off. We don't have days off together, except the
mm,
weekends, of course. But then also, even right before the podcast, he called me because his day off is Wednesdays. So he says, but he was still at home working. He'll work from home, but he
mm-hmm.
called just to because he knows everything that I have going on, and he called to say, okay, is your mind right? Are you good?
Mm,
Before this, because work has
mm,
been hectic, the office has been crazy. So he'll just say, okay, I want you to take some time. And this is what he said right before I jumped on. He's like, okay, so take some time to do some breathing exercises and da da da. So my husband is literally like my biggest cheerleader, like
supported. Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
so us working together is so easy. We do have
Mm,
disagreements to where he may see things one way, I may see things
mm-hmm.
another, but we talk about it, we talk it out. And I can't even tell you that it's stressful. You men, sometimes you guys
Yeah.
listen to us, sometimes you don't. Then when you don't listen, you have to come back and say, you know what, babe, you were right. So I get that a lot too. I should have listened, but well, we're not going to talk about that. But
I was gonna say, okay.
but it's one of those things that he'll. But
No,
I,
I heard
I
you.
have to bite my tongue sometime and say it too,
No,
because
I hear that. I hear that.
yeah. So I have
Mm-hmm.
to, I have to say it too. But it's really just recognizing each other's strengths,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing each other's weaknesses. Where I'm weak, he's strong. Where I'm strong, he's weak. And just kind of
Mm-hmm.
combining that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what it is, like that compromise and everything. But we do have like our date nights. We have our date
Mm-hmm.
nights where we're turning it off. We're not talking about business. We have,
Mm.
family nights where, we all go out. But we really just have, some good times together. And
No, I love that.
it's really, we just really turn it off because it's one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
what I said to you earlier. There's not a dang thing. I don't want to say damn, sorry. There's not a damn thing we can do about tomorrow. We can't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's live in the now. Let's live in the moment and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that for sure. I'm curious, over the years, what are some very like important and useful skills that you have developed as an entrepreneur and even as a leader? I'm sure you have, people that obviously you have employees and whatnot, and you have women that you mentor. What are some skills that you've developed over the years that you found like are very, very helpful as an entrepreneur?
Well, being in the service industry, I would first
Mm-hmm.
say learning how to deal with, your clients and different
Mm-hmm.
personalities. Like we deal with multiple personalities. So really just understanding
Mm-hmm.
everyone and, just really being more of a listener in a
Mm-hmm.
sense and not being so
Mm-hmm.
quick to jump in. These are life skills as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're really similar. When you
Right,
think
right.
about life skills and business skills, and just knowing your client, knowing your customer, but also the mighty dollar. I've learned
Mm.
how what makes dollars and what makes sense. A lot of marketing tactics. Um, it's a lot of marketing tactics, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
how a business should look overall.
Mm-hmm.
Your employees,
Mm-hmm.
definitely, your employees, their skill sets, and being able to
Mm-hmm.
identify their strengths and weaknesses as well. And I want to touch on that really quick because
Go
you
ahead.
don't always have to fire an employee. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You really just I've learned to identify their strengths. Maybe this person isn't good in sales, but they're good in customer service. So I'll take them from the sales area, put them on the front desk. You know what I mean? So really
Mm-hmm.
identifying their strengths and their talents. Now, I always say I can work with anyone, but if you're just plain out lazy, I can't help you not be
Mm-hmm.
productive. So if you're
Right.
productive and you're willing to learn, what I've learned is to identify their strength. And my husband is really good at this as well, just identifying where they should be. Maybe this is not the place for them, but this is the place for them. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that as an employer, has enhanced over the years, just recognizing
Mm-hmm.
and identifying strengths, and being a just that business professional that's going to give
Mm-hmm.
people a chance.
Yeah. No, I love that because when you take the time to identify your employees' strengths and their weakness, I really believe it shows that you guys actually care about them and you don't just see them as a tool or
Right,
just as another body. You
right.
know, a lot of people, a lot of business owners, they have the mentality of they're so quick to fire. They're so quick to
Mhm.
fire to just get
Mhm.
somebody else in here. But I love that it seems like you guys take the time to really develop these people and put them where they should be at, right?
Yeah,
So I love that. It really shows that you care. And not only that, once you show that you care, I mean, employees they stick around
right,
for as long as possible, right?
right. No,
So
it's
I
true.
love that. Hmm.
It's true.
Hmm.
And I know that we're very good employers. We
Right,
really are
right.
good employers. So when someone decides to leave, and, we know that it's
Hmm.
for reasons that are really outside of our
Hmm.
control. And here's another thing, as a business professional, as an employer, and also as a person. So like I said, a lot of things go hand in hand. When
Hmm.
you start praying for something and you
Hmm.
kind of ask God to prepare you for your next chapter, your next season, you have to be prepared for these things to happen. And sometimes they don't always feel good. So, dealing with the systemic racism and different things that have happened, and employees, non-Black employees would leave, and different things, it was one of those things where I would say, okay, but this is something I asked for. It may not feel
Hmm.
good, but these are things that you ask for. So I always say, when you pray about something, when you're asking for something, you better be prepared to receive it. And it's not going to feel
Hmm.
good all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I was. It's funny because I forgot when it was. Maybe about a year ago, our pastor was preaching about patience and
Mm-hmm.
having patience. And a lot of times we pray, God, give me patience. And he says something along the lines of, well, God's gonna give you that patience, but he's also gonna test you, and you're gonna have to work on it. So
Yeah,
he's gonna put situations in your place where it's gonna be testing your patience.
right.
So
That's
yeah,
true.
I believe that 100%. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I want to speak on a little bit of. I want to speak to the women out there a little bit. I know you own a nonprofit called the Extraordinary Girl Foundation.
Mhm.
Is that the one that you have right now?
Well, it's actually, we changed the name. It's the SJW Foundation, because
Okay,
we
okay,
we we, we saw the need for not only women but also men as well.
okay.
So it's
Love
really
it, love it.
strengthening others to be intentional about their purpose. That's what
Mm,
it's all about. Young women, young boys, older women, older
mm-hmm,
men, just really strengthening them to be intentional about their
mm-hmm,
overall purpose and to do something about it, providing,
mm-hmm,
executing, and not just
mm-hmm.
saying it and dreaming it, but executing.
Yeah. So what does that look like for you guys to do that, going out in the community and helping young men and young women out there? What does that look like specifically?
Well, I actually have a mentoring group of young women and also
Mm,
young entrepreneurs, where we have the attorneys that come out, we have graphic designers come out, and they'll give their business plan.
love that.
They have to create their business plan. They have to talk about their business, what it looks like. We're envisioning their logos. Like, it's not
Mm,
just, okay, well, this is the name, find a logo. You have to envision it. I'm asking,
right.
what do you see? What do you see when you say that name? So, and the graphic designer is there and just kind of going into that, but also about money management, just different things, in
Mm-hmm,
life. The and it's just joy in seeing them flourish
mm-hmm,
and open their businesses and starting their
right.
businesses. And then we also, at the end of some of the sessions, we decide if we want to be like silent investors in their business, and kind of help,
I
or
love that.
just so many different things. And and that's another thing, we have to make sure that we're capitalizing off of everything that we do when it comes to business, because you're teaching them, like, investors. So if I give you this, what is that going to look like? So they have to show us a return on investment. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So it's really instilling and teaching those entrepreneur skills that, as they grow and develop that enterprise that they're going to
mm-hmm,
have, one day, how's that going to look? And not being
mm-hmm.
bamboozled by others. You're going to
Right.
already know this stuff, things that they don't teach you all the time in school.
Absolutely. And so where can people get access to that if they want to be a part of this mentorship group, if it's open right now or if it's going to be open in the future?
They would it's on my website,
Mm-hmm.
SharezaJWilkerson.org. They would just fill out the inquiry. Again,
Mm-hmm.
it's SharezaJWilkerson.org. So
Mm-hmm.
all the information that you need as it relates to myself and the businesses are on that website.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, cool, cool. I know we got a couple more minutes. I wanted to touch on a couple more things real
Mhm.
quick.
Sure.
You have the Divas Don't Do Drama Summit.
Yes.
I know you guys have an event coming up. You want to talk about that a little bit more. It's an exclusive summit and networking weekend for entrepreneurs. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's for women in business or corporate
Mm-hmm.
America, whether you're climbing the corporate ladder or you are an entrepreneur, but it's women in business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a summit for the grown A woman, for the sake of, it's really, it's the grown A woman, but
Mm-hmm.
basically ownership, accountability, and execution. We have so many workshops that are going to be accessible. We have to start your business, grow your business, or relaunch your business. So we know
Mm-hmm.
COVID is taking its toll on us. And if you were in the process of starting your business or you started the business and it kind of failed, it's time to relaunch your
Mm-hmm.
business. And then for
Mm-hmm.
those that have businesses, we have workshops on growing your business and then starting your business. So we have experts in every field that's going to be talking to the women and also making them
Yeah.
accountable and executing. Then we also
Mm-hmm.
have a networking yacht party that night. I'm also a playwright. So we have my monologue edition, The Evolution of an Extraordinary Woman, that's going
Mm-hmm.
to, it debuted in October of 2018. That was the stage play, but now we have the monologue edition. That's
Wow.
going to be that Friday night. Saturday are the workshops, and then our networking yacht party. We're going to have so many pop-up shops. We have
Mm.
Phoebe Torres from Basketball Wives, Shawnee O'Neal. She's going to be speaking. We have like our midnight conversations. We have Miss
Mm-hmm.
Robin B. I mean, it's so many. It's so many awesome, amazing women that are going to be
Mm-hmm.
there that are going to be speaking and sharing, their story and
Mm-hmm.
in business and life. It's basically love, business, and BS, and
Mm-hmm.
business and life, and just pouring into each other. But it's about creating that lifestyle that you deserve. Everybody deserves to be
Mm-hmm.
happy. Everybody deserves to have the lifestyle that they want, but you got to work for it. So I don't want nobody's gonna leave like
Mm-hmm.
without a strategy. It's time to
Mm-hmm.
execute because we can dream all day, but if we're not doing anything about it and executing, then it's pointless. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
about sisterhood, also developing sisterhood, leaving there,
Yeah.
having that new
Relationships.
girlfriend, developing business relationships, personal relationships with like-minded people.
Mm.
So I'm really excited about this one. Like I'm excited about this year's. It's going to be in Hollywood, Florida, at Margaritaville Beach Spa and Resort. So tickets are on sale like right now. So I'm really
Mm.
excited about it.
Yeah, you got me fired up. It sounds like it's going to be
You need to
amazing.
get
I
a
know it's
ticket
going to
for
be.
your wife.
No, seriously, seriously. We definitely got to look into that for sure. If you guys are serious about, jumping into business, serious about investing in your business and connecting with other like-minded women, like she said, this sounds like the place you need to be. If you're not there, then I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like it's going to be amazing. Like she said, it's going to be a lot of amazing speakers there. Um, what was the website that they can go to and find out more information about it?
It's my website, SharezaJWilkerson.org,
Cool.
and you would click on events and it would take you right
Mm-hmm.
there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the last thing I want to touch on real quick, you're also an author. I know you mentioned that you have a book called Sister D Program. You also have Extraordinary Girls Prayer Journal and Dear Future Husband. I think you have one other book. You want to just touch on the books and maybe the purpose of writing of each one of them.
Yeah, so Sister D Program, Your Guide to Growth, Freedom, and Redefining Yourself. That's basically a book that I wrote, just talking about my life in the transition period or the
Mm-hmm.
transformation period, um, deprogramming that program mind,
Mm-hmm.
unlearning everything that you were taught and teaching yourself, and not allowing others to count you out, creating your own definition. I always say you are who you say you are, not who anyone else says you are. So it's basically Sister D Program, reintroducing yourself to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Extraordinary Girls Prayer Journal. That is basically a prayer journal that has 12 affirmations in it. It says, I'm extraordinary, extraordinary girls love. And that month you focus on that affirmation. You write about it, anything related to that affirmation. Dear Future Husband, one of my favorites, Dear Future Husband, 7 keys to loving yourself before loving him. And this is for
I
those
love
that
that.
desire to be married, that even it's for this women that are desire to be married, divorce, looking to jump back into the relationship game, what have you, but really loving yourself before loving him, because you have to prepare yourself, for your husband. So it's really, kind of like different memoirs and different things that I've also encountered, sharing some nuggets. And also, one of the chapters is be desired, not desperate. It's given some
Ooh,
real nuggets that you may not be ready to hear, but that's about accountability. And that's also
right.
another key, being accountable, being accomplished within your own rights, be confident, be your total self. Table for one, please. Table for one, please is really about, being okay with going out by yourself, taking yourself on a date.
Man,
So it's really
I
about
love that.
7 keys to loving yourself before loving him. And it's things that I've gone through to prepare myself for what I had to go through.
Amazing. Sounds amazing. I mean, with that being said, we can start wrapping this thing up. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anything else that you wanted to discuss? I know we spoke about a lot, but is there anything that we missed?
No, we got the summit, we got the
Yeah,
surgery center. I think we
yeah,
got all
yeah, yeah.
the good stuff, out of the way. And
Cool,
I don't
cool.
want to share everything because I want you to invite me back one day.
No, I'm saying we got to do like a marriage podcast or something like that with your
Yeah,
husband or something
definitely.
like that. So I think that would be amazing for the audience. If I can have my wife on, you have your husband on, we can
Yeah.
like go back and forth. That'd be
Oh,
amazing.
let's do it.
Um,
Let's do it. Hmm.
for sure, I'm definitely gonna have you back on. I really enjoyed this conversation. One last thing I always have my guests do for the audience is leave them one last gem, one last piece of advice. It can be business related, women empowerment related. It can be anything related. Let the audience know what you would say, and we'll end it on that note.
Be resilient,
Mm.
and be of good heart. I'm going to end it with my favorite quote. And again, that's by Dalai Lama. Our prime purpose in life is to help others. And if you can
Mm.
help them, please don't hurt them. So, in my grandma's voice, leave folk alone and let folk be.
I love it. Boom. Love that so much. Social media handles, where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you? I know you mentioned the website a couple of times, but if they want to reach out to your Instagram or whatnot, where can they find you?
It's Shareza J. Wilkerson on everything.
Cool.
All social
Cool.
media handles, Twitter, Facebook is SJW Entertainment Group presents Shareza J. Wilkerson, but you'll find Shareza J. Wilkerson on everything. And
Yep. Yep. And I'll link
Shareza J.
the
Wilkerson.
Yeah, and I'll link everything in the description of this podcast. Again, I really appreciate your time. Amazing conversation, very empowering. And with that being said, it's your boy Chris, and I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
Thank you.